the SEC just approved Bitcoin spot ETFs, meaning that now mainstream Earth has now access to enjoy the gains of Bitcoin, one of the most highest performing assets in this century, without actually owning Bitcoin. They only have to own the investment through Bitcoin spot ETFs. If you take a look at Reuters real quick, we'll just run through it. This actually caught me off guard. I was in a meeting when they released this news. US SEC approves Bitcoin ETFs and watershed for crypto market. Washington, New York, January 10th. The U.S. securities regulator on Wednesday approved the first U.S.-listed exchange-traded funds to track Bitcoin. Its chair, Gary Gensler, said in a watershed for the world's largest cryptocurrency and the broader crypto industry. The U.S. Security and Exchange Commission approved 11, count that, 11 applications, including from BlackRock, ARK Investments, 21 shares, Fidelity Invesco, and Van Eck, among others, according to a notice on its website. Some products are expecting to begin trading as early as Thursday. Now, if you take a look at the SEC website, I saw a note reading that the website actually crashed because people were visiting it at such a frequent pace. Statement of the approval, it's right here. Chair Gary Gensler, today the commission approved the listing and trading of a number of spot Bitcoin exchange traded products, ETP shares. I have often said that the commission acts with the law and how the courts interpret the law. Beginning under Chair Jay Clayton in 2018 and through March 2023, the commissioners approved more than 20 exchange rule filings for spot Bitcoin ETPs. One of those filings made by Grayscale contemplated conversion of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into an ETP. Anyway, while we approve the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin ETP shares today, we do not approve or endorse Bitcoin. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to crypto. And to a certain extent, it's a very risky bet. That's why the prices of these digital assets are so volatile right now. If you take a look at the Bitcoin price, it's pumping 47 grand. What you got to take a look at is once it gets closer to the previous all-time high, 60K, some are arguing, analysts, that they'll be selling around that time because then people will be essentially taking profits around that time. I mean, I'm into it for some paper. Like I said, it's incredible what's happened with the amount of money that I've put into it because it doesn't amount any more than 2 grand. In one particular investment, as I've said on previous videos, I dropped like 200 bones on a donation during a Gitcoin campaign. Those Gitcoin campaigns that work pretty much as crowdfunding platforms where if you have some type of cryptocurrency oriented project, then you can put out your project or communicate about what it is that you have lined up and people will donate. I donated about 200 bones. I didn't have a crowd-funded project or a project that I was aiming to crowd-fund through donations, just like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter. I donated, and as a result, according to previous videos, I showed you the proof, I got roughly what's worth now around $8,000 worth in cryptocurrency. And that's US dollars, not crypto money, because I see people in the comments sometimes when I'm talking about these cryptocurrencies saying, oh, it's crypto money, it's not real money. You can exchange it for real money anytime that you want. Fiat money, because it is money, just like the US dollar is money. US dollar is a form of money because people have trust in the United States government, in the trust of the infrastructure of the greatest, probably capitalistic experiment and democratic known to man, democracy known to man at this particular juncture. And that's why it's backed by all of that infrastructure and everything that constitutes the United States the most powerful superpower on this planet known to man as yet. So it creates demand for the US dollar. With Bitcoin, there are a number of people that want it, right? And the scarcity of it makes it even more valuable. The problem with the US dollar is they keep on pumping too much of it. So as they pump more of it, the price of eggs keeps on going up. You're probably paying like about $10 an egg right now. Nah, but you never know if it can get to that level, because every single time that the country gets in trouble, they keep on shooting the money machine, the money printer, and then that devalues it. When there's more of something, it's simple: supply and demand. If there's more of something, it costs less. If there is less of something, then it costs more. There will only be about 21 million Bitcoin. So that scarcity of the particular coin, of this asset, is what makes it. Not only that, also together with the popularity of it, because there has to be some demand behind it, but the scarcity also fosters the demand, is what makes it so valuable. Right now, each Bitcoin is going for $47,684.21. Keep reading. And look, they approved 11 applications. So there is a lot of access. There is countless projections finding that there's going to be tens of billions of dollars right here. Look, Standard Chartered analysts this week said the ETFs could draw $50 billion to $100 billion this year alone, potentially driving the price of Bitcoin as high as $100,000. Other analysts have said inflows will be closer to $55 billion over 5 years. It's a huge positive for the institutionalization of Bitcoin as an asset class, said Andrew Bond, managing director and senior fintech analyst at Rosenblatt Securities. The ETF approval will further legitimize Bitcoin. Bitcoin was last up 2.13%. That was at the time of the writing of this Reuters article, 46,924. Some analysts had noted that the market may have already priced in the news of approval. Bitcoin had soared more than 70% in recent months on growing anticipation of an ETF, and hit the highest level since March 2022 earlier in this week. If you have been staying on top of this, you may know that someone actually hacked into the SEC's Twitter account, X.com, and they reported that the SEC, the government agency, approved the spot ETF prematurely, and the price of Bitcoin actually started trading down. So people were speculating, listen, perhaps this is a dress rehearsal and we should start to sell Bitcoin. I mean, I'm thinking of it in terms of, I want to see how far it can get into 2025. However, if it goes up to 100K, I'm flipping it, because I don't even know if I'll wait at the 60K mark, because the 60K mark, it's at the all-time high. It may start to trade back down. Who knows at these levels? Who knows? But 2025, because every indication finds that we are currently in a bull run. So it's about time that the cycle starts again. There's also the Bitcoin halving approaching in early April, perhaps late March. So there are a number of catalysts that have been driving the price of Bitcoin, and it's going to also trigger pumps among altcoins. So I'm in Solana and several coins. I'll just take a quick look. Not anything major at this particular juncture. What I'll probably do is probably go ape into some smaller coins, put enough that I could lose. What I've been doing is basically farming for airdrops. And airdrops, as I told you, is a form of grants coming through in the form of crypto. So again, into this, I probably put no more than about $2,000. I've also taken out some paper, and I'm actually paying some people with whom I'm working using this technology, which is crazy efficient. But right now, this is the bull run. There are a number of indications, not financial advice, simply what I am doing. Again, your money is a tool. That's the way that I look at it. So look, SEC decision on spot Bitcoin ETFs expected to come today. Here's what we know. This is actually old. SEC approved spot Bitcoin ETF. That was a minute ago. US SEC approves the first spot Bitcoin ETF, marking a significant milestone for cryptocurrency. The approval signals growing acceptance of digital currencies, attracting a broader range of investors. Experts believe this could pave the way for more crypto-based ETFs, transforming the digital currency industry. There's actually an application for an Ethereum-based ETF. So what is the status on that? We can take a quick look. ETF, Ethereum, ETF. Ether jumps over 2.4. Ethereum's changing narrative, spot ETF and altcoin beta hype back. Bitcoin falls ahead of ETF decision. Either Ether surges 12%, the highest level since May. So again, it's taking it with it. So bottom line is, whenever Bitcoin starts to pump, then it starts to take the rest of these altcoins with it. They typically lag behind it, but they typically pump more. See, the thing with Bitcoin is, I mean, if you're going to flip it, you flip it and you put it into altcoins or whatever, then it's all risky, okay? It's all based off of scarcity, but I don't think Bitcoin is going anywhere. Not financial advice. It's been around for some time. People want it at a mass scale. Millions of people have hopped on Bitcoin and the use and all these other technologies that have come as a result, these crypto-based technologies, the way people are using Ethereum, the way people are transmitting and processing remittances across the planet at lower levels, not being bogged down by the traditional banking systems and these wire companies that want to charge exorbitant fees in order for you to transfer your money. So this is a way for you to gain control of your paper. Let's take a look. 7 hours ago, this is right here. Bitcoin dips and bounces after ETF approval while Ethereum tops 2,500. Again, you see everyone else lagging behind it, but Ethereum is pumping and other altcoins will start to pump as well. I believe Solana is right now it's at $110. Wow. So at $110, this thing was like at 90 something. I was going to hop on some earlier today at like around 93 or whatever. I bought some at $1 and change because I think it has a long way to go. It's got a number of protocols that they're building on top of Solana. It's an Ethereum, quote, killer. Not a killer, but it's something that's potentially complementing what it's doing. Bitcoin dips, then bounces after ETF approval, while Ethereum tops 2,500. Bitcoin's price action has been choppy since the SEC officially approved spot ETFs in the United States, while Ethereum hit an 18-month high. The United States Securities and Exchange Commissioner officially approved the trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds Wednesday as expected, but the price of Bitcoin itself has been choppy since, though it's currently sitting about where it was when the news hit. So it's facing some resistance. So you may find some traders are taking profits at this juncture. They want to sell on the news itself. They've just been waiting for it to build up to this point. Nonetheless, I mean, I'm thinking of it in terms of at least 25 because that's when you'll potentially start to see the closing months of the current bull market that we are currently undergoing. So right here, you take a look at CoinGecko and you get all the numbers for this stuff. I bought the majority of my Bitcoin on Coinbase. I told a number of you to jump on it when they were giving up to 1 million Shiba Inu, or was it Dogecoin? I forgot what it was. I believe it was Shiba Inu at one juncture. Well, enough money for you to buy 1 million Shiba Inu at that particular time. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, look, 26. Ethereum is popping like crazy. 104, Solana, this thing was as low as 90 bones this morning right here. Boom. Take a look at it right here. Boom. It was all the way 93.12. I was going to hop on it, hesitated. Didn't do it, had a number of other things to do, whatever. I mean, I'm looking to flip my money anywhere I can multiply it, being as fructiferous as possible on this planet, following the True and Living Gods document. Anyway, XRP up 0.1%. And you can take a look at these numbers by hitting these sorting features on it. Ethereum Classic up 9% over the last hour. Casper, this is another coin that a number of people are taking a look at, and Bonk, that's a meme coin. Rocket Pool, ETH, Osmosis, Ethereum 2.8%, Arbitrum, Near Protocol, BitTorrent, Cardano, Oasis. Let's take Optimism. Look, I was about to check off 1.9%. It's at 4 bones. I mean, this thing, I believe a month or a couple of months ago, it was like about $2 and change. Now my holdings, and I got all of this for free. This was an airdrop that I told you about because I deposited 200 bones roughly in fees and donations to that Gitcoin grant. I got this for free. I'm not sure if you can see the screen when I pop up the MetaMask. No, you can't see it, but I'll probably take a screenshot and show it to you some other time. Right now, let's take a look at the value of this stuff. 41 bones. There's roughly 7 G's worth of this coin that I hold absolutely for free. This is the meaning of free money. And if you want to hop on this stuff, listen, I got a Discord down below. If not, subscribe to our newsletter at bit.ly/Neil Rod, where I'll keep you abreast of whatever you want to call it, the science, the gems, jewels, alpha, whatever type of information that will allow you to take that next step towards obtaining this type of, what I believe will evolve into generational wealth for many, because many have taken this. Listen, the people that got in early, but I believe we are still early, because there are a number of people that have no idea about this technology, and they don't even have any idea that they're about to be invested in this technology, because now it's an ETF. There are a number of people that have money in ETFs all across the planet, and they may not even know exactly what constitutes the assets that structure that particular ETF in which they're invested. And now these hedge funds, if they have invested in a particular fund where the fund has decided to invest in Bitcoin through a spot ETF, then now they're into it. See, so that's why it's like you have all of these people that have all this kind of money, and then you're going to also have, as what they're saying, called the generational wealth shift. The word escapes me at this particular juncture. The wealth transfer, the great wealth transfer of all of these baby boomers and people that are Generation X, and they start to transfer all of their assets to their children and such. You're going to start seeing people potentially taking more traditional assets like real estate that people don't want to manage because it's out of state, or it's just out of their reach, or just constitutes legwork that they do not want to perform, and potentially pushing that money into something such as Bitcoin. Right? Even people that don't want to get too sophisticated, where they welcome a 5 or 8x return, which is what is expected during this bull run for Bitcoin. CNN, after a false start Tuesday, because like I told you, someone had hacked into the SEC Twitter account, the Security and Exchange Commission gave its approval Wednesday for some investment companies to offer spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds. The regulator's highly anticipated move is expected to make Bitcoin investing more accessible to Main Street investors without requiring them to own the digital asset directly. So you don't have to own it. As long as you're invested in a particular fund, then bang, you are in, and you get to enjoy the gains or the L's, of course. None of this is financial advice. The regulator's highly anticipated move is expected to make Bitcoin investing more accessible to Main Street. SEC Chair Gary Gensler made it clear in a statement on the SEC's website that the agency remains wary. While we approve the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin ETF shares today, we do not approve or endorse Bitcoin. Of course not. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to crypto. Listen, there's no affiliation with the US dollar, any type of fiat currency. So this is a federal agency. Why would they want any type of currency that's competing with the one currency that keeps them in power to endorse that particular asset in any way, regardless of how well it's performing? But the people want it. And when you get enough people behind any type of movement, the doors will open, as you can clearly see. The SEC had a deadline of January 10th to offer a decision for just one of the 11 firms that applied to offer Bitcoin ETFs. On Wednesday, it offered approval to all 11 of them. Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, has a current market cap of roughly $900 billion. It has seen volatile price swings throughout its 15-year history, most recently after hitting an all-time high of nearly $69,000 in November 2021. It fell below $17,000 during the crypto winter of 2022 and has mostly been trading north of $45,000 in the run-up to the SEC's decision. About an hour after the news Wednesday, the price of Bitcoin was up 0.3% to nearly $46,000, according to data on CoinMarketCap.com. Now, I hadn't been paying attention as much as I should have been paying attention. Now I'm paying attention because I'm seeing all of this money that I got as a result of throwing a few bucks at this cryptocurrency ecosystem has now turned into thousands. So I'm like, you know what? Let's pay attention, see if we can make something out of it. And, of course, relay that information to you, yes, my beloved viewers, so you are able to also capitalize on this opportunity, because right now this is just the jump. You want to take a look at what's happening with cryptocurrency in the gaming industry and the artificial intelligence sector, because every single time there is news on a new game or shifts and disruptions in the gaming industry, then those coins pump. When you see news or any type of headlines or developments that the media is publicizing on artificially intelligent technologies, then those coins pump. So you want to take a close look. We are in very exciting times and very fast changing, hyper-paced times. So while you are alive during these times, people are going to say, wow, this was the birth of artificial intelligence. That time when the Matrix spoke about, when the robots actually started to start a war against the humans. Who knows, is that ever going to happen? Take a look at the creator and you'll get an idea of potentially what I think may be most likely to happen anyway. And listen, this is the jump. We are starting right now. This is basically the beginning of this entire era in which we are living right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't throw more of my money than I am willing to lose. That's been my particular philosophy when getting into this thing. I never took it serious. I was just like, listen, throw a couple of bones, perhaps a few minutes towards doing these learn and earn type of activities and donating here, donating there. Again, just enough that I'm willing to lose, because listen, I have spent so much money on stuff that had nowhere near any chance of multiplying, right? And so you might as well look. It's a few $100 here and there, a few $1,000. To me, is not anything. Of course, to you, I know a number of you have written in the comment section of previous videos that you are in dire straits and you need all kinds of assistance and you're coming here for grants and stuff like that. In actuality, some of the activities that I've performed to farm the airdrops, that's free money. I've gotten those grants. I've gotten money in return for performing those activities. Not out of every single one, or not every single one has become fruitful, because, for instance, the airdrop that I received in Bitcoin, it was at $1,000 when I got it. I should have flipped it. I was like, listen, this is a solid company. It's not going anywhere. But the fact of the matter is that these organizations, it's all a big experiment. It's all in alpha mode. They're not even generating any revenue. It's just a lot of ideas. They have some digital infrastructure behind it. They got coins that people can purchase for fiat, and they get people investing into their projects. And I may have a couple of lined up that I may want to put into work, but actually put in a tool that people can use in order to enhance their lifestyle in one shape or another, right? And they got all these crazy billion-dollar valuations, million-dollar, multi-million-dollar valuations. So it's very risky for you to put your money into this stuff. And that's why I have that mindset. I'm willing to put in enough that I'm willing to lose. If it goes, it goes. Listen, everything goes regardless. Everything is ephemeral on this planet. And I know that as long as I always develop my skills to help people, I'll never be broke as a joke with nothing but hope. And with God Lightning's boat, that'll never, ever, ever, ever let me choke. All right, here we go. Let's keep reading through the content. I'm not even looking at this. I just set this up real quick because it was a timely video, and I think that you definitely should start to pay attention to these technologies if you want to start to build generational wealth with what the entire economic ecosystem on this planet has lined up in the 21st century. Bang. About an hour after the news Wednesday, the price of Bitcoin was up 0.3. After the stock market closed, a post on the SEC account falsely claimed the regulatory agency had approved. That was from yesterday, right? What else we got? Let's keep taking a look. Investopedia, spot Bitcoin ETFs are approved by SEC, cleared to start trading Thursday. Spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds are cleared to begin trading Thursday after receiving regulatory approval on Wednesday from the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. Bang. What else we got? What is a spot beat? What is a spot beat? What is a spot Bitcoin ETF, and how will its approval by the SEC impact investors? The the Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday granted approval to spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds or ETFs backed by Wall Street, a key regulatory step that will make it easier for ordinary investors to put their money into the digital currency. The agency gave the green light to multiple financial firms to offer spot Bitcoin ETFs, including asset management giants like BlackRock, Fidelity Investments, and Franklin Templeton that cater to retail investors. Until now, only Bitcoin futures ETFs had SEC approval. So now these organizations will start to own the Bitcoin that they package in their particular ETF. Just to give you a better understanding as to what this approval means. So again, I mean, basically what you want to think about is that now, again, everyone has access to these ETFs. People have an understanding as to what these financial products are. ETFs are a collection of different equity assets, and being that now Bitcoin is a part of that, you are going to get a lot of mainstream adoption of one of the most highest performing asset classes in the 21st century. The agency gave the green light to multiple financial firms to offer spot Bitcoin ETFs, including asset management giants like BlackRock, Fidelity Investments. Until now, only Bitcoin futures ETFs had SEC approval. Bitcoin prices have shot up on the SEC's approval of the ETFs, more than doubling since last year. CoinDesk's Bitcoin price index shows prices for the cryptocurrency had already risen 61% since October, and expectations that the agency planned to approve spot ETF applications, CoinDesk reported. Here's what to know about spot Bitcoin ETF. So you want to get the drop on what this actually is. ETFs are pooled investments. That's the best way to describe it, like a mutual fund, but that trade on stock exchanges like a stock or bond, and that track a specific index, sector, or asset class such as gold or now Bitcoin. Unlike traditional mutual funds, they can be bought and sold throughout the day. A spot Bitcoin ETF allows investors to gain direct exposure to Bitcoin without holding it, unlike regular Bitcoin ETFs in which Bitcoin futures contracts are the underlying asset. Bitcoins are the underlying asset of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Each spot Bitcoin ETF is managed by a firm that issues shares of its own Bitcoin holdings, purchased through other holders or through an authorized cryptocurrency exchange. The shares are listed on a traditional stock exchange. So now you got Bitcoin on a traditional stock exchange. People can buy ETFs packaged with Bitcoin. Which applications were approved? All 11. All of them, because they know the people are behind this stuff. And even the people who don't know about it, right? The funds, they know that, listen, this is one of the most highest performing asset class. We need this in our fund. Here they go. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, ARK 21 shares, Bitcoin ETF, Bitwise, Bitcoin ETP Trust, Wisdom Tree Bitcoin Fund, Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Trust, Van Eck Bitcoin Trust, Invesco, Galaxy Bitcoin ETF, Valkyrie Bitcoin Fund, Hashdex Bitcoin ETF, and Franklin Bitcoin ETF. Spot Bitcoin ETFs versus buying Bitcoin. What's the difference? Investing in spot Bitcoin ETFs differs from buying Bitcoin directly in a few ways. Now, I'll just be frank. If you buy Bitcoin, you'll probably be enjoying more, because since an ETF constitutes pooled assets, then the ETF will have a collection of wins and losses coming from different asset classes. But if you only have, so if you are winning on Bitcoin 2, 3, 5x or whatever, right? If there's another asset class that is losing by 1x, it cuts down on your winnings from Bitcoin. But if you just have Bitcoin and you're just winning on Bitcoin, then you'll enjoy all the gains of the Bitcoin price action. Nonetheless, if it also drops, then you also do not enjoy the losses in Bitcoin. Whereas if you're in an ETF, if you lose on Bitcoin, perhaps 1 or 2x or whatever, if you're winning on another asset class 2 or 3x, it offsets that. So if you're losing on Bitcoin 1x, but you are winning 2x on another asset class, you may be up 1x because you're up on the 1x of the other asset class. Investing in spot Bitcoin ETF differs. First, investors who put money into Bitcoin ETFs do not own any Bitcoin outright. Second, financial firms will charge fees for trading and managing a Bitcoin ETF. By contrast, people who buy Bitcoin directly pay a transaction fee, but there are no costs for managing the investments. So managing, in other words, when you're trading for something else, I'm thinking, but again, if you are trading for something else using something like Coinbase, then yeah, you will have some fees. Also, there may be some networking fees. So there are some advantages to owning Bitcoin through an ETF. For example, investors can hold and track their Bitcoin ETF in the same brokerage account as their other investments. What could be the impact of the SEC approving Bitcoin ETFs? Investors are betting the emergence of spot Bitcoin ETFs will pump billions of dollars into the digital currency by making it easier and less intimidating to invest. That's what I said earlier. Firms like BlackRock and Fidelity are household names in financial services, and their move to enter the sector nudges Bitcoin further into the mainstream as an investment class while conferring legitimacy to the shadowy and highly volatile crypto industry. A spot Bitcoin ETF marks the end of crypto as a novel asset class, and the beginning of a world where it can be part of every portfolio, CEO of Anchorage Digital, Nathan McCauley said, a crypto platform provider for financial firms. And as demand for Bitcoin rises, so will its price. So as more people pump more money into Bitcoin, of course, then it's going to evaluate more. And also with this halving, that's going to actually cause what's called scarcity in the particular asset, because what happens during a halving is that the amount of awards that Bitcoin miners win as a result of mining Bitcoin, that you win Bitcoin earn Bitcoin rather, by documenting a Bitcoin transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain ledger, it will go by half. So that increases the amount of scarcity. So there's less of it. When there's less of something, it costs more. People are willing to pay more for it. Just like when there is lack of sufficient inventory in the housing market. If there are less houses, then you've got more people diving in to offer or make offers on one particular house. That increases the price. It causes a bidding war. Oh, you offer $200,000, I'm going to give $250. I want this. Oh, $250. I'm going to offer $260. And that's basically what it is on a daily basis. Very volatile. Let's go. Studio 1180, A Castillo, how is this going to affect price of Ethereum? The price of Bitcoin pumping at this particular juncture and all of this money going into Bitcoin is going to take practically every single altcoin with it, even though it's not pumping as hard as it may be at this particular juncture. Right now, the attention is on Bitcoin. Nonetheless, if you see solid projects, again, not financial advice, simply what I am doing. I actually was going to put more money to Solana, and it pumped on me 102. I was going to do it at 93. I should have done it at 60 something when I saw it, when I actually learned about the entire protocol. But something solid like this, it may pump even more because, listen, we are in the beginning of a bull market. The same thing for Ethereum. Again, Ethereum, Bitcoin, they're not going to make astronomical gains that people start to cite as reasons that they became millionaires in a particular bull market. They'll probably go up, 5, 8x, where there are other coins that are a lot riskier. Again, only put enough money that you are willing to lose that they may go up 10x, 100x. But if you know it's a risky play, it's all risky at the end of the day anyway, because, again, these are organizations that they're not clocking any paper. They're not really making money. It's not like the NASDAQ and the variety of stocks available in the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial, all of this stuff. These are organizations, most of them, they don't make any money. They don't generate any revenue. They have partnerships set up, and they've raised all of this money, but they don't generate revenue on a regular basis, and they're not as transparent as organizations in the stock market. Publicly traded companies have to be in order to comply with SEC regulations and be able to accept investments from the public. So a lot of this stuff is just basically experimental. So it's all a big risk play. What I can tell you is that many indicators, many analysts, everything that I've been seeing points to the fact that this is a bull market. So what happens when it's a bull market? Just like what this dude was doing, that gambler cat that was like picking or putting together stock symbols out of Scrabble letters, right? And he was still killing it, making more money than all the suits on CNBC and all of these other places. That's how basically it's going to be at this particular juncture, where it's not going to be that hard for you to say, listen, oh, I'm the thing is, you got to know when to get out, right? If you know that there's a completely risky play, like something like Bonk, it could be a completely risky play. It's a meme coin. People that got in early, a number of people became millionaires. Some dude that put down, I think it was like 200,000. Of course, you're not going to, most people are not going to put that amount of money or don't have that amount of money to put down on it. Put like 200,000. I think he made like 8 million or billion. I don't even know how much money he made. A crazy amount of paper. I spoke with someone that during the Shiba Inu craze, or was it Dogecoin craze, one of them, I think he put down like 8,000 and came off with like 60,000 or whatever when he flipped it. There's also like sats available, all kinds of crazy projects. Learn as much as possible about the project in which you're investing. And my thing, again and again, don't put more than you are willing to lose. I don't want to hear anybody getting depressed. Neil told me this is a bull market, that is going to be easy. I mean, easy relatively speaking, because you are not going to have to perform as much due diligence to make some gains. Not financial advice, simply what I'm taking into consideration as when you're in a bear market. Same thing with stocks. When you go into a bull market and the Federal Reserve is blasting that money gun, I mean, you probably have an 80% chance of clocking paper picking any stocks. There are people that had monkeys picking stock symbols during the last bull run in the stock market, and they were clocking paper. Of course, when it's a bear market, that is not so simply the way that you can make your gains. Nonetheless, again, learn as much as you can on these particular technologies. I mean, for those of you in it for the long term, it may be something that can turn out to be. I mean, Bitcoin may very well hit the $1 million mark, but what? That's like 2030. So you want to wait until that long? You got enough money to go ahead and put aside, and you got some time to wait for it? Go ahead. I may do the same thing. I may never cash any of my Bitcoin. Just let it ride, and then let whatever generation could enjoy the exponential gains that it increases towards. Do whatever they need to do with it. Maybe give it who knows? We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll take a look. I don't want to say too much into this future. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't have a crystal ball. But based off my past experience, I know that when you are in the bull, that's when you have the highest chance of making these picks. Just don't get your head bloated thinking about, I'm the man, I'm the woman, because now I know how to trade this stuff. I'm an expert guru in regards to trading this stuff, because I made a couple of, I'm no genius or Einstein just because I took 200 bones and turned that into, $8,000 worth of free crypto? No, that doesn't make me. It's just something where I put some time into it. Listen, it probably took about an hour of my time to go ahead and research where I could do some airdrop farming on that Gitcoin. I had trust in Gitcoin. That was my mistake. I was like, oh, this is a real company. It's not a real organization. It's a crowdfunded platform, and people have actually been able to raise millions to potentially billions of dollars. I'm not even sure. This is the Gitcoin. So that's the one mistake that I'm not going to make this time around. If I can enjoy significant gains and I find a way to, because I know how to operate with money. I mean, I could put it towards people to help me scale out some type of product that we can sell and bring value to people. And I want to teach as many people as I can reach through this channel and other networks, other forms of ways for me to distribute my content to be able to provide for their families and loved ones and everyone that true and living God has assigned to them. But look, Gitcoin, part of GitHub, I didn't think it was going anywhere, and it's not going anywhere. I probably shouldn't have sold. I think I still have a little bit of the Gitcoin because I sold the other one because I was just like, you know what? It went to 1,000 and then it went to like $50. So that's what could happen. I'm not trying to make that mistake. Hopefully, God willing, I'm not making that mistake this time. I'm taking a look at 25 to just basically potentially strip, depending on how much I've got, take some of that paper if I need it, because if not, something like Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure it's not going anywhere. They've got 21 million Bitcoin. They're halving it on a regular basis to increase the scarcity. And there's big demand. I don't see it going anywhere. But again, to each his own. Out. Oh, join the Discord below if you want to stay on top of the alpha, the science.